You're going to have the suck uniforms the entire season, but 3 games will give you with the best uniform. Those are the issues I have. The powder blues out for the Chargers. That should be every game. The Miami Dolphins old uniforms that they throw it back to. That should be your uniform, not the trash you wear now. The Patriots. You ever see them throw back with a little football player in the helmet? It is beautiful. But let's keep the trash uniform.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Things you have to look at is what the team has the following day, especially when it comes to bullpen usage. You know, a lot of the things I like to attack is you see these extra inning games, these games get drawn out, these bullpens get worn, or if someone gets shelled the first 3 innings and they got to go to the pen, you know, early, you know, that's a good spot to kind of hop in the middle of the next game. You know, you got a tired bullpen, right? You try and take advantage there, maybe with an over, maybe with the money line. You're getting plus money on a favorite at that point.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Piece of an interesting couple of weeks in California, if you recall, just I think it was 2 weeks ago, language was inserted into a bill that would outlaw or ban sweepstakes casinos and sports betting, which of course we've seen lots of that happen this year. So California is an interesting market because, as you've said, there is no legal online casino, there is no legal online sports betting.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Like Montreal, like has a new coach. Like I might be the new coach of Montreal in 2 weeks. Like they have a new coach all the time, and they always have, oh yeah, we're playing a new system. They're like, they have a bunch of like 20-year-old players and kids on the pitch. Anyone that's good, they sell and they trade for money all the time. Like it's a real disaster. But they hit a new low tonight, getting eliminated by the Forge.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
A new week starts right here, right now, bright and early on this Monday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. That includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie right side. I am Ben Stevens. We are together live for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. And this is that 1 week in the sports calendar each and every July, DRS, when things get very, very quiet. We are at the All-Star break in Major League Baseball. A look back on the final weekend, the 2025 MLB draft on a Sunday evening as well. We'll reset where things are around the major leagues throughout this week. But it's the All-Star break. It's the All-Star festivities starting tonight in Atlanta. A home run derby that Donnie Rightside is very excited to break down. A star-studded field of 8. And tomorrow is that 2025 All-Star Game, the Midsummer Classic. Outside of the Derby tonight, DRS, not a ton of action out there. A couple of WNBA games, none of them on national television. We'll get you ready for some college and NFL football. The Rooks have reported to training camp for the LA Chargers. SEC Media Days over the next 4 this week as well. But it's a little bit quiet. We still bring the fun here on the Early Line, starting bright and early on this Monday.
Oh, we have to, people. This is officially known as Hell Week across the sports landscape. We are the entertainers, and we're here to entertain, and we will certainly do that. But I blame Major League Baseball. Hey, baseball, help us out. All-Star Game September 1st. Nobody cares about the All-Star Game, and nobody will care about it now or at September 1st. But at least we'd have Major League Baseball games to talk about to sort of help us through the summer. So Major League Baseball, nobody pays attention to us. Now in the middle of the summer when we need you the most, you dip out on us for 4 straight days, and we don't have any Major League Baseball action until Friday. Those are the things that get me upset, but we're here to have a 3-hour show to give the people what they need. This is basically, Hump Days Wednesday. This is Hump Week in the sports atmosphere to get you through. Once we get to the end of this week, it's all, Strawberries, it's blueberries, it's horizons out there, it's rainbows, and we love it. Yes, exactly. 1 week. Suck it up.
I don't want to call it Hell Week. That seems a little bit drastic. Hump Week, though. Hump Week in the sports calendar, I can agree with as we get you ready for this week. And we will, of course, talk all of your All-Star festivities in Atlanta as well. Maybe not much live action, DRS, this week. We do have an Open Championship in golf, our fourth and final major of the year, starting on Thursday at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. But yesterday and this weekend, a day of championships. We start at the championships. Wimbledon on the grass in DRS, the budding rivalry that is officially the rivalry in the world of men's tennis. On full display, the dream final yesterday at Wimbledon between world number one Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. After their monumental final, the 5-set thriller in Paris just over a month ago, it was Jannik Sinner exacting his revenge to win his first career Wimbledon title, becoming the first Italian man or woman to win at Wimbledon. He drops the opening set. He wins the next three over Alcaraz. 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Jannik Sinner, a Wimbledon champion. He has now won all but one of the career Grand Slams.
You know, I just would have saw in the stands yesterday, Connor Stallions and Jim Harbaugh out there cheering him on, saying, that's my boy. He cheated all the way. First championships and being popped for steroids. What a rivalry, right? So like we say, we're tired of it. Sunday Night Baseball, Red Sox and the Yankees. Why do we always have that here? Get ready for what? The next 10 years of these two guys meeting in every championship? I'm telling you, put the commissioner's cap on. The women's side, phenomenal. The men's side, boring as all get out. Same guys every single time. Put a salary cap on them. Say, you know what? You win one championship. You can't compete in the next one. Let the other people in here.
Wait,
come on now.
You don't like this rivalry? I think this rivalry is fantastic, and it had that large feel and billing.
I have to watch. Yeah, that's how much I loved it yesterday. Like, they're fighting together. I see it every week. We see these two play every week. What I got to watch again for? What's the point?
But Jannik Sinner had multiple championship points at Roland Garros in Paris. Carlos Alcaraz pulls off a stunner and a wild comeback. That was 5 straight victories for Alcaraz against Sinner. So this rivalry is even more building, DRS, as Sinner was able to exact his revenge. Well, DRS should have been in love then with the women's final. Don't know how you can say that as Iga Swiatek rolls all over the American Amanda Anisimova, because it was quick, under an hour, a double bagel, as it is known in the world of tennis. 6-0, 6-0 for Swiatek, the third ever double bagel in a Grand Slam final ever, the first since 1911 at Wimbledon. The fact that DRS would rather choose that final at Wimbledon than Sinner and Alcaraz tells you all you need to know.
Exactly. Never saw that matchup before. Don't need to see it again. So maybe somebody new will step up. 6-0, 6-0. Everybody's having, home for tea, home for dinner, tucked in bed here. Saw a championship, and away we go. By the way, the men's, we don't need to go that long. 6-0, 6-0 in the men's. Come on, in and out, baby. Boom. See ya. Made for TV.
Sinner and Alcaraz, by the way, have won the last 7 Grand Slam titles. Sinner will look to defend his U.S. Open title on the hard courts at Arthur Ashe Stadium up in Flushing in just about a month. The DRS MLB draft in 2025. The Nationals, a slight stunner to begin, because with the number 1 overall pick, Washington selects the 17-year-old shortstop out of Oklahoma. That's not the college. It's Fort Cobb Broxton High School in Oklahoma. Eli Willits becoming the youngest prospect taken first overall since a man by the name of Ken Griffey Jr. with a sweet lefty swing back in 1987.
I'll tell you what's interesting about this, too, because if you are a Nationals fan, right, you're saying to yourself, like, there's consensus number ones. And when you hear that name called and you go, who? What did we just do? Now, it could pay off in spades down the line, but I know if you're a fan where your expectations are a certain pitcher to be delivered to you at number 1, like back in the day with, Strasburg, this will be an interesting one to watch you play out, and something that I don't know if you can say like winners or losers on day one on a 17-year-old kid that might not appear in baseball for 5 years, but those are the consensus yesterday. Is they didn't get the true number 1. They took a shot at somebody that they hope, I guess, works out.
Most people had consensus number 1 being the lefty, who was an absolute stud all postseason and season long for the national champions. That would be LSU. Cade Anderson, the lefty, falls all the way to number 3. The Seattle Mariners find a gem. How about a cool moment? Ethan Holiday, the youngest son, actually, I don't know if he's the youngest, but a younger son of Matt Holiday, his brother Jackson a few years ago, first overall pick to the Baltimore Orioles. Ethan Holiday, 4th pick by the Rockies, who drafted his father Matt Holliday as well. DRS, some action yesterday to end out the final weekend ahead of the All-Star break. And the hottest team entering the All-Star break resides in Fenway Park. A third consecutive sweep for Boston. They sweep the Rays in a 4-game set. That's 10 wins in a row as the Sox will enter the All-Star break red hot.
Yeah, they get rid of Devers, and that lineup turns into a powder keg. A lot of young talent in that lineup here. Bregman comes back, and I like what I see here. That's what you want to do. End the first half with that ammunition to look at the second half and say, you know what? We might be able to do this thing. Maybe win the division. Maybe make a wild card run, but things are looking up for the Sox, man.
Yeah, certainly are, DRS. That is the case. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers do battle in the W for the first time. And Clark's Indiana Fever get the better of the Dallas Wings. 102-93. The Fever win and cover as a 9.5-point home favorite.
Yeah, it was on TV yesterday, so I popped that on, which was good. And then I'm watching a little bit later in the day, like, oh, Wimbledon showed up. And I'm like, okay, let me watch a little bit. Then I check ESPN. I was like, wait a second. This match ended hours ago. I mean, come on, man. I don't need to watch it twice in the afternoon.
All right, number 1 overall picks, Clark, Beckers, and Cooper Flagg, who has now been shut down for the remainder of Summer League. 2 games in Las Vegas. On Saturday, DRS, he balled out 31 points against the Spurs. Now he's done.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I pay for cable TV. I'm class action lawsuit, fraudulent NBA Summer League. Just admit it. This guy's going to play 1 game out of maybe 15 he's supposed to play. Fraudulent. Nobody should ever send their first-round picks anymore to play in the Summer League. I'm upset about this week because we're getting cheated left and right, and Major League Baseball is the culprit. But I'm taking it out in the Summer League.
Fair enough. First ever Club World Cup. Chelsea beats PSG at MetLife 3-0. Any thoughts?
Who gave the trophy? Who gave the trophy out? I didn't see it.
I believe it was the president.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
One that really sticks out to me the most, George, and he's having a fantastic season, is James Wood of the Washington Nationals. I mean, yes, Cal Raleigh's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's like a candidate for MVP of the American League. But every time I look up, George, James Wood is either getting 5 hits or being walked 4 times in a game. What a season for this guy.
And he's so young. What are you, 22? So what a future this kid has ahead of him.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You don't want a big that's camped out under the basket and clogging the lane. He provides a lot of really good defense, a lot of three-point shooting, and again, younger than Brook Lopez. It is a good match. I just don't think it moves the needle, but as we talked about to open the show, when Giannis Antetokounmpo was saying, we're not just going to sit here this year and say, oh, Dame's down, let's just take a pause here because I'd rather go try to chase a championship. So at least they're being honest and saying, we're going to make this team better.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Monday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. MLB is at the All-Star break. Today, the Home Run Derby in Atlanta. Tomorrow is that Midsummer Classic on a Tuesday in the A. The Braves will play host as more than likely the most disappointing team this year in Major League Baseball. But before we get to all of our All-Star festivities in Atlanta this week, a week that DRS is not too pleased with, let's get you caught up with a recap of the entirety of our final weekend ahead of the All-Star break. DRS, some really good matchups on a Sunday to end out the opening half of this season. As we have shared, though, it's not really the midway point. Most teams have played at least 95 games around MLB. That is well more than half, 81 of 162. We start with a California rivalry between the Giants and the Dodgers. LA snapping a 7-game losing skid on Saturday, finally getting back in the win column against San Francisco on a Saturday evening. So in the rubber match on a Sunday, wild game. Dodgers had a 2-0 lead into the home half of the ninth. Luis Matos hits a 2-run home run for SF, forcing extra innings. And in the 11th, the Dodgers plate 3 runs. The Giants unable to respond. LA wins the finale and the weekend. DRS 5-2 in the finale, taking 2 of 3 and snapping that 7-game slide on Saturday.
Really needed it. I mean, they really needed that Saturday game because we talked about it yesterday on Pro Baseball Today. Boy, wouldn't that have been interesting if they would have lost the game on Saturday and how much, emotion they would need to pour out on Sunday so you don't go into the All-Star break with that epic losing streak saying, what's wrong with us? And we have to sit out 5 days. Nice to end against a division rival. You take the final 2 games, Saturday and Sunday, and it worked out in your favor. And also taking a look at Shohei Ohtani on the mound saying, all right, you know what? 2 innings now, 3 innings now. What's it going to be after the All-Star break here, that 4 innings and 5 innings? You become a full-time starter, something to certainly watch out for. But if you are taking a look at, how things played out, you needed that for the Dodgers. Not to say if they would have lost the 2 games, say, oh, no, there's no way they could win the division or make the playoffs and woe is me attitude. That wouldn't have been the case. But just for their own psyche, picking back up where they left off, they have a winning streak now heading into the break. They can decompress, come back after the break and see if they can charge down the stretch and be that number 1 overall seed in the NL.
That 7-game losing skid, DRS, that came to a close on Saturday, the longest for LA as a franchise since 2017. It was a very long losing skid for the Dodgers, but they were playing so well into the 7 consecutive L's. They had built up quite a margin in the National League West, a division that they have dominated 11 divisional crowns in the last 12 seasons. The Dodgers, before the 7-game skid, had won 15 of 18 games. So now, winning the final 2 of the weekend and taking that final weekend set, building up some positivity entering the All-Star break, knocking off your rival, the Dodgers, a 5.5-game lead in the National League West. And the Dodgers still, DRS, on top of that, a half game better, 1 more win than the Chicago Cubs right now. Chicago has 57, LA has 58. The Dodgers not only the best record in the division, still the best record in the NL overall.
Yeah, no, and we anticipated this at the start of the season. And again, if the Dodgers as dominant as many people thought, 115, 120 wins, challenge the Seattle Mariners record there. Like, that's not going to be the case, but they are talented. They're going through some injuries, particularly with their starting rotation and also losing Muncy for some time. But the trade deadline is coming up. They'll get healthier. And Ohtani, if he does become a full-time starter, pitching maybe once every 6 days, 5 to 6 innings, that's also going to help as well. Nobody's worried about the Dodgers. It just would have been interesting to see if they had dropped those games Saturday, Sunday. Oh, maybe we panic about the Dodgers, but there's no panic again. They're clearly the front runners in the odds market here to win the pennant in the NL.
The Tigers got swept this weekend, DRS. And so when you look at Detroit, who has now lost 4 in a row, swept by the Seattle Mariners, who scored a ton of runs on the road in Motown. Detroit's still the best record at the All-Star break, but stuck at 59 wins. Nobody will hit benchmark win number 60 ahead of the All-Star break, of course. Detroit a game better than LA for that best record. The Dodgers remain the favorites at minus 150 to have the best regular season record in all of the bigs this year. Again, 5.5-game lead for the Dodgers in the National League West. In front of who? The San Diego Padres, who were looking for the sweep yesterday against the Philadelphia Phillies at home, but the Phils able to finally register a win. Philadelphia knocking off the Pods in San Diego 2-1. DRS, your Fightins entered that Sunday finale in San Diego, dropping 4 of their previous 5. Again, good to avoid a sweep and pick up a win, even though it hasn't been the best brand of baseball last week and a half for the Phillies.
No, finally, a clutch hit from JT Realmuto late in that game in the top of the 8th to take that 2-1 lead, but the Phillies can't hit. And the shame that's going to be is the Phillies are going to waste one of the all-time pitching performances from a pitching staff this year, it feels like. Like Aaron Nola is going to come back into the fold, and almost like we have too many really good pitchers here, which is an unbelievable problem to have. It'll be interesting to see what Dave Dombrowski, the general manager, does at the deadline, because the Phillies do need to close. Now, granted, they're going to get back Alvarado midway through August, but he can't pitch in the playoffs. Right. But that's still going to help over those final 45 days. If they add a top-notch closer and maybe a bat or two in that lineup, good luck, man. The Phillies just might be the best team in baseball right now as assembled. You see them. They're going to win baseball games in the regular season. But once you get to the playoffs, it's 3-2 games, 2-1. You have to hit. They just don't have the clutch hitting right now. But maybe they can resurge in August and September like we've seen in the past. But for me, I'm watching way too many games where the Phillies have a starter go 7 innings, give it 1 run, and lose the ball game. Sure. That's ridiculous. Yesterday they did win. They needed that win, though.
Only that final run from JT Realmuto, the RBI double in the top of the 8th, which was the game winner, was the only earned run that Philadelphia scored against pitching Nick Pivetta, who was great in 6 2/3. Bryce Harper scored both of the runs yesterday for the Phils, but the one in the opening frame on a throwing error. We'll talk about Christopher Sanchez, who got the start yesterday for Philadelphia. Now 8-2 DRS with a 2.50 ERA. 7 1/3 yesterday. A single earned run allowed, 6 strikeouts. Many felt, basically the consensus, you don't often see people agree on hot button topics like all-star selections like we did over the weekend, that Christopher Sanchez was snubbed from joining the NL All-Star roster in favor of the Rook, Jacob Mizorowski, who made it to that all-star team. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. DRS, the Philadelphia Phillies still a lead in the National League East by a half game in front of the New York Mets, 55-41. The Mets are 55-42. We'll also, as we look back on the entirety of this MLB weekend, as we are now at the All-Star break, put things into a playoff perspective. Wild card races intensify following the All-Star break as well. We'll break all of that down next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on the early line on SportsGrid, Major League Baseball at the All-Star break, but still a weekend to get you caught up on all around the bigs. How are these teams playing? How are they performing? How many wins did they rack up maybe in a row entering the All-Star break? We start with that hottest team, DRS, the Red Hot Red Sox. They got their 10th consecutive victory, sweeping the Rays in a 4-game set this weekend, winning 4-1 in the finale. Longest win streak for Boston since 2018. Fourth team with a 10-plus game win streak entering the All-Star break. The longest win streak at the break since the 2022 Seattle Mariners. The wonderful information from our producer extraordinaire, Joe Frizo. The Red Sox, DRS, looking like the team we all expected them to be entering this season. Now 53-45 at the break, winners of 10 straight.
It's crazy. Like, if you take a look at the AL East and you say to yourself, all right, hey, that hot team was the Yankees. They're not the hot team anymore. Oh, that hot team is the, Tampa Bay Rays. Nope, not hot anymore. Oh, the hot team is the Toronto Blue Jays. Even though they're playing great baseball, they've lost 2 games in a row. And now it sort of switches over. Now the Red Sox are the hot team. The only team that hasn't been hot at all this year is the Baltimore Orioles in the AL East. But this is showing signs of life where sometimes you just wake up your front office, Ben. They had a clear thought process. Like, you know what? Rafael Devers is a great player, makes a lot of money, but he's just not fitting here. We have a log jam of good, young, talented players we'd like to get a look at. And sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle. Sometimes you catch it, which you see now, a 10-game win streak for Boston, where everything is going right. Bregman comes back into the lineup. You're getting good pitching and clutch hitting from these young players. Or it could have been, we're going to take care of Devers. We're going to get him out of town. We're going to let the young kids play. There's going to be growing pains, but hopefully the future is bright. The future seems like it's right now for the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. Then also, you love the fact that you won 10 into the All-Star break, but at the same time, you go, no, like, wait till we at least lose a game. Then we can take a break and, have a couple days off, because when you're playing baseball like you are for the Red Sox, you want as many games as you can loaded up on your schedule to keep that winning vibe going. We'll see how they return next Friday night when everything gets back in line. But for the Boston Red Sox, how tumultuous that first half of the season was, Ben, what a way to finish it here. 53-45, only 3 games back of the Jays now. There's life in the building at Fenway.
No doubt about it, DRS. 3 games back of the Jays in the American League East divisional chase. We thought Boston, trending in a positive way, entering the All-Star break, would firmly put them in a wild card spot. It has. The Red Sox occupy that second AL wild card spot and have a full game advantage up over the Seattle Mariners, trailing their divisional foes and rivals, the Yankees, by just a full game there. Boston trending in a very positive way, entering the All-Star break. And you look at the AL East odds, the Jays dropped their final 2 games of the weekend, still hold a 2-game lead. The Yankees, trailing by 2 games, are the minus money favorites, still at minus 130. But the Sox firmly in the fight at a 6-1 number to win the American League East divisional crown as we enter the All-Star break. Speaking of the Yanks, unable to take advantage despite the Blue Jays dropping their final 2 games entering the break, as the Yankees did the same. The Cubbies take the rubber match yesterday up in the Bronx in a marquee matchup this weekend. In really good sign for Chicago, DRS, try to hold off the surging Milwaukee Brewers to have Shota Imanaga back and dealing the way he did yesterday. 7 innings of work, did allow a single earned run, but only 2 hits along with 6 Ks. The Cubbies take the weekend and the finale against the Yankees.
Yeah, good to see Imanaga there, right? 7 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. I mean, heck, the Yankees only had 2 hits in that entire ball game at home before the break. Warren wasn't bad. 5 1/3 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs given up. Should have been enough to keep you in the game, which it was, but he just didn't have any of the bats come alive. And as I take a look at, this 2 of 10 with runners in scoring position for the Cubs, and as I scan the Yankees didn't even have an at-bat with a runner in scoring position, which tells you how good Imanaga and that bullpen was yesterday. Nice win for the Cubs to end that first half of the season. Certainly a player I'm interested to see if they make any moves to fortify that starting rotation, because one thing that we do know, those bats are fun at the plate. They'll hit, and that's a good series for them up there in New York.
The Brew Crew have won 7 straight, DRS, the hottest team in the National League. And because of it, the Brewers only trailing the Cubbies by a full game in the National League Central. So important for those Cubs to pick off a win yesterday. The Brewers sweeping the Nationals, taking advantage of when you play those bad teams. Same for the Reds, who won their final 2 games of the weekend at home against the Colorado Rockies yesterday, 4-2 in the finale. And because of it, Terry Francona becomes the 13th manager in MLB history, DRS, to reach 2,000 wins.
Yeah, Tito's been around for a while here. He used to be the Philadelphia Phillies manager way back when, but all around, you can't ask a single guy in baseball that can say a bad word about Tito Francona over there. One of the best to do it here. I mean, heck, the guy bought multiple championships to Boston. Put a statue on that thing, man. Put a statue out there.
The Reds, 50 wins, DRS. We need to get to 80. I believe in my Cincy team. More around the bigs next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on this Monday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. DRS, not just the final weekend of Major League Baseball sets before we enter the All-Star break, but the 2025 MLB Draft last night in Atlanta. The MLB Draft, a little bit different than the NBA Draft, or of course the entire dramatic production that is the NFL Draft. Not many prospects there last night in the A, because you have no idea what teams are going to do, even at first or second or third overall, based on slot value. And of course, many of those high school prospects that are not even playing collegiately at the moment. That includes the number one overall pick last night in 2025, Eli Willits, the high school and prep shortstop out of Oklahoma, drafted first overall by the Nationals. Only 17 years old. He becomes the youngest prospect to go first overall since Ken Griffey Jr. back in 1987, the third youngest prospect ever to be drafted one of one in the Major League Baseball draft.
Yeah, for me, I mean, sometimes there's generational talents coming out of high school, but I got to be honest. Like, I'm taking the older, mature college kid that's raking at that level. I'm just going to live with it, because there's so many times you could take a look back. You don't know, from 17 to 18 to 19, like, kids just get past physically here. Maybe you're not playing that much. Now, granted, they're scouts. They're playing in all these big tournaments across the country, and you understand that they are talents. But what an unknown, a 17-year-old that you expect to become greatness. Is he going to be Bryce Harper? Well, Bryce Harper had a lot more hype behind him. Same thing with Ken Griffey Griffey Jr., father being in Major League Baseball, saw this kid coming from a mile away. Steven Strasburg, who wasn't a high school kid, but a college kid, like those can't miss phenoms at number one. You just hope it works out. Not for the kid, because he probably made $10 million last night being drafted number one overall. He'll be fine for the rest of his life. But for the fans, like, hey, our team stinks. We're looking for a savior. Like, I remember when the Philadelphia Phillies basically tanked, and it was a non-generational draft. Ended up with Mickey Moniak, who's actually playing pretty well now for the Colorado Rockies. It was like, we just had the number one pick after tanking, and the guy isn't even a Major League Baseball player. Like, sometimes that's just the way it works in Major League Baseball.
Yes, it is, DRS. And the consensus number one was Cade Anderson, the lefty hurler out of LSU, who helped the Bayou Bengals win a national championship just over a month ago. He falls all the way to number 3 to go to the Seattle Mariners. Tyler Bremner out of UC Santa Barbara goes second to the Angels. Basically, all to say, the 2025 MLB draft got off to a crazy start last night. 2 stunners at the very top.
No, and look, you like to see that stuff. And also for Seattle, you feel like you got the number one overall pick at number 3 and underslotted as a value. That's interesting stuff. But also, how about the Philadelphia Phillies? Got the kid from Arkansas that was absolutely dealing in the College World Series with the no-hitter and like 19K. So you had all the way up and down the lineup. But for me, again, I'm sort of shying away from those high school kids. You know where I would go with the high school kids, though, to be honest? Like, I don't mind the pitchers because you can see, like, hey, the guy's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball at 17. He's probably going to progress into a power pitcher, maybe a little bit easier. Now, granted, they blow up, blow their arms out that you never hear, but I think it's a little bit easier to judge a pitcher in high school than a position player, if that makes some sense. But, hey, that's what the draft is for, and that's why we don't see these kids for 3, 4, 5 years, particularly the pitchers when they're 17 years old.
But it is interesting, DRS, because in the 2024 MLB draft last summer, we've already seen 5 guys debut from that draft class. It seemed as though we got a lot of prep players early on in the opening half of the opening round yesterday in MLB. It's a very long draft in Major League Baseball that will continue throughout the early portions of this week. But if we have more high school guys, probably not going to make it to the bigs just yet. Some more news from the weekend that was. The Mariners sweep the Detroit Tigers in Detroit. The Tigers entered this weekend hoping for win number 60 to become the first team to get to the 60-win mark. Unable to. The Tigers dropped 4 straight, entering the weekend 59-38. Detroit still the best record in baseball by a full game in front of the Dodgers. But the M's 35-14 outscoring the Tigers on the road in the Motor City this weekend.
Yeah, look, big series for the Mariners, and also from a Tigers perspective, the ebbs and flows of Major League Baseball, good teams, bad teams, win streaks, losing streaks, it always happens here. Maybe that break came at a good time for the Detroit Tigers to sort of reconvene and hit the second half running, but also a good time for the Mariners to knock off the Tigers before the break and say, okay, front office, help us out now. You got a little bit of help with the number 3 overall pick, who's not going to help them this year, but my goodness, man, that's a pretty good weekend for the M's.
For sure. And because of it, the M's now hold on to that third and final AL wildcard spot, a game and a half in front of the Tampa Bay Rays, who, of course, were swept in a 4-game set by the Red Sox this weekend at Fenway. The Brewers, the hottest team in the NL, 7 straight victories. Milwaukee in the top spot in the NL wildcard race. Good news for the New York Mets. They get back Sean Manaea, but he did allow in relief yesterday, 3 1/3, the walk-off hit against the Kansas City Royals. The Mets did win the weekend, though, in KC, taking 2 of the first 3. And DRS, the Miami Marlins remain red hot on the road. They've won 13 of their last 16 away games, as the Marlins absolutely hammer the O's yesterday, 11-1 on the road. Kyle Stowers, 3 long balls in Camden Yards.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive yesterday because, I'm just looking at the box score right now because I just want to see Jesus Sanchez real quick just to do. Okay, here's what, you ready for what I did yesterday on the baseball show, which I had a pretty good day overall. But get this, I had Kyle Stowers to get a double at a 5-1 price. He hit 3 home runs. I had Jesus Sanchez to hit the home run in that game. He got the double. Come on now. I mean, what? You switched those 2 over. We're printing out lottery tickets. And I lost both of those bets. That's unbelievable, man. But Stowers with an they go 5 for 5 yesterday with the 3 bombs. I mean, outrageousness for that kid, man.
Ridiculous. It will be interesting to see Miami, DRS. 44-51, still well below 500. Yeah. Not really in a playoff position. What exactly do the Marlins do after the All-Star break, entering that trade deadline at the end of July? The O's, a disappointment this year as well. They entered the season second-best odds to win the AL pennant, only behind their divisional foes in the Yankees. The Orioles playing better baseball from the end of May until about the last week, but they are still 43 and 52 in the cellar of the American League East. No more team disappointing this first half of the season, DRS, than the Atlanta Braves, who, of course, will host all of our All-Star festivities the next few days. The Braves did win the weekend set in St. Louis, taking 2 of 3, but still, when you look at the record for Atlanta, 42 and 53. Not good stuff. DRS, All-Star festivities this weekend in Major League Baseball. And some big news Friday night. A National League replacement to the All-Star game. Jacob Mizorowski, Big Miz, who we love on this show, but has made only 5 starts in his MLB career, named a National League All-Star in favor of many others, but most notably perhaps the Phillies' Christopher Sanchez, who picked up win number 8 this year, is 8-2 with a 2.50 ERA. Yesterday, as the Phillies avoided the sweep in San Francisco. And it led to some pretty good comments, DRS, out of his Philadelphia teammates over the weekend. Trey Turner saying, quote, "What a joke. That's effing terrible. I mean, that's terrible, dude." JT Realmuto, nothing against the Mizorowski kid, but those two, Sanchez and Ranger Suarez, who has been great, are deserving. And the best from Nick Castellanos, it's turning into the Savannah Bananas. It is bananas indeed. DRS, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I'm going to need a full segment on this one because there's a lot to digest. And again, from a Phillies fan, like taking a look at it from both angles, I can see what Major League Baseball is doing, but it shouldn't be a story, Ben, but also watching other outlets talk about this, like I really feel like, Ben, like my head is going to explode because even from myself, like you can't have it both ways. And this is how I'm going to set it up as we talk into the next segment on it, where Major League Baseball is basically telling you it's a fun all-star game, but then you're messing with people's livelihood at the same time and how they get voted and how things get actually worked out over the next couple of years. Because when I say that you can't have it both ways and they're trying to do that, you're missing the point on so many different things. And I'll leave it at that because I want like a full 3 to 4 minutes on the explanation of what's going on because really it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But what Major League Baseball is doing, Ben, is an absolute travesty. He said, "Oh, Donnie, you hate the All-Star game." I do hate the All-Star game. This is one of the reasons why, Ben, I do hate the All-Star game.
We'll have DRS's full thoughts on Christopher Sanchez getting snubbed and Big Miz getting the invitation in his rookie year. Jacob Mizorowski has been great. We'll show you the stats for both Mizorowski and Sanchez on the other side of the break. Maybe not deserving with only 5 career starts in the big. More of that next.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's turning into the Savannah Bananas. Never how you want to compare the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, but I think Nick Castellanos did so beautifully over the weekend. His teammate Christopher Sanchez, namely snubbed from that National League All-Star roster in favor of the rookie who has been sensational in Milwaukee. That's Jacob Misiorowski. DRS, before you dive in to your issues with this selection, let's just show the stats. One of the main issues, the idea that Big Miz should not be in the game, is because he has only made 5 career starts in his Major League Baseball career. He has been great. He is 4-1 with a 2.81 ERA. He is a flamethrower. He had 12 Ks in his most recent start last week, outdueling Clayton Kershaw. All wonderful things, only 5 starts. Christopher Sanchez picked up win number 8 yesterday as the Phillies avoided the sweep in San Francisco. He is 8-2 in 19 starts with 115 innings and a better ERA at a 2.50 mark. DRS, you have joked about the All-Star festivities and the Midsummer Classic tomorrow in Atlanta, but you said it well right before the break. This has to do with people's livelihoods. What was your main issue? And go on your soliloquy here of your reaction to the Sanchez snub and Big Miz getting the All-Star nod.
Here's what it comes down to. Like the all-star game, right? And I hear other outlets, right? Because I like to get like a baseline of like, what are the people saying on Twitter, fans, teammates around Major League Baseball? Because it does play with people's livelihoods. Here's where I'll start with this. Put these 3 pitchers, not box scores, just their pictures up as if it would be in the press guide, right? The casual fan doesn't know either one of these 3 guys. So All-Star Game will remove that. Because I was listening to another talk show this morning, go like, hey, man, love what baseball's doing. Put the superstars in the game. Nobody knows this kid. He's pitched 5 games. Nobody, outside of me who loves baseball, and Ben, we talk about him every morning when he pitches here because we talk about a lot of pitchers. That's how we know him. The comment, I can't go to my dad and be like, hey, Dad, you going to check out Jacob Misiorowski tonight? He's like, is that guy a chess player? Like, who's that? Like, what am I actually watching tonight? No, he's an actual Major League Baseball pitcher. But here's the issue that comes down to, Ben. Take like 13 All-Star appearances. Remove that Major League. Now the All-Star game doesn't matter and it's an exhibition, nobody gets tagged for actually making an All-Star game anymore. Because that's what you're telling. Because you look at a guy like Ranger Suarez, who's having a phenomenal season, almost like Cy Young worthy, and the same thing with Sanchez. I'm not going to the All-Star game, which is voted on basically by my peers to be the best players in baseball because a young kid pitched 5 games when I have 3 times the starts and a better ERA and better numbers, and I'm not going here. Here's how you work it. Because Tyler Huntley of the Ravens made a appearance, basically a Pro Bowl appearance, because, he was so far down the list. Do that with Major League Baseball. What's the issue with saying, and also the fallacy, which Joe brought it up in the break, and he's right. The fact of the matter is you call Ranger Suarez and say, we'll put you on the All-Star game if you pitch, but if not, you're not an All-Star? How about Ranger Suarez should have accepted it and then goes to the game like, oh, arm's a little bit tight right now, so I'm still an All-Star, but I'm not pitching in this game. Like, I don't understand the premise of what's going on. And also understand this again. Like, when you retire, 13-time Major League Baseball All-Star, which now would turn into 12 or 11 or 10, or, hey, I made 3, but really I only made 2, but I should have made the All-Star game, but a young kid got brought up. And that's the issue. It's not that I'm a Phillies fan that's not deserving. Like, you take a look at the 2 pitchers on the Phillies. They are deserving. A first-place ball club here where they have been absolutely filthy dominant, and they're not going because you want to put somebody else in, which, again, I'm fine with. If the All-Star game doesn't mean anything, and it doesn't, take away all the adulation then for you making an All-Star game, because if it's just about the fans, are we actually getting involved? And also, it's not as if like we're just going to take a internet celebrity and put him in the All-Star game because people will watch. Like, hey, Britney Spears is going to play first base for 3 innings. Like, her fans will watch her. Taylor Swift's going to play in center field for 1 inning at this point. It's like, whoa, okay, they'll tune in because it's the All-Star game and nobody cares about the game itself. You can't snub people who deserve to be on the All-Star team and put in somebody who doesn't and then say, I didn't make the All-Star game. And good on the Philadelphia Phillies for paying Christopher Sanchez's number on making an All-Star appearance so he gets that bonus. But it's not going to go on his mantle. Like, what happens down the line? Like, hey, it would have been cool if he would have made an All-Star game. Oh, he got snubbed for a kid who pitched 5 innings. And hopefully Misiorowski has a good Major League Baseball career. But what happens if he flames out and goes, lost to that kid that only had like 8 starts in the majors? Do you know what I mean? It's such a bad look for baseball when it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, completely agree, DRS. And this is not Big Miz's fault. Jacob Misiorowski was not in Rob Manfred's ear being like, let me in, keep the Phillies guys out. And now he kind of becomes that poster child. They asked Christian Yelich, his teammate in Milwaukee, about it and basically said if they don't like him, screw him and let him go out there and absolutely throw some gas. And hopefully Big Miz does do that. But Donnie is spot on. We still use all-star nods in selections as a way to define a career, when a lot of all-star selections and voting is done by fans who might like a guy or not. This is not necessarily that case, but it does have direct impacts to how your legacy is defined in your professional sport. And more importantly, DRS, for these individuals in the immediate, bonuses, more money, substantially more money if you get that all-star nod based on performance incentives. It is an interesting situation, one that it's pretty funny, DRS. When you see like all-star selections and all-star snubs, it is a hot button debate. Those in Milwaukee are like, this Miz kid deserves it. Screw you guys in Philadelphia. East Coast bias, yada, yada, yada. Phillies fans being like, screw Big Miz, all that stuff. It really felt like the overall consensus of Major League Baseball fans, media members were like, this is the dumbest thing we have ever seen. Anybody on the Phils, either Sanchez or Suarez, was deserving of getting the nod in front of a guy that has made 5 career starts. Not that Jacob Misiorowski is a bad player. We're not deserving of the moment. But with only 5 career starts, he gets the nod. That's where things get interesting.
Yeah, and also, like, Clayton Kershaw's going. Why not just have a slot in there that's like, hey, rookie phenom that comes up, we automatically put him on the roster if players want to see him in that spot here. Like, if you give an equivalent to baseball, Roman Anthony comes up and hits 5 home runs in his first 5 games. Like, hey, he went over Cal Raleigh. We want to see the superstars. Raleigh doesn't move the needle. He's from the Pacific Northwest. Still, nobody even knows what he looks like at this point. Maybe we'll introduce him at the All-Star game. Like, it has that type of feel to it. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a really big deal. But when you understand where somebody deserves something, there's snubs all the time, all across sports. Like, hey, these 2 guys had similar ERAs, same starts at this point. It's not even close. The Phillies pitchers have 3 times the amount of starts and better statistics. But the superstar Misiorowski is going when nobody's ever heard of the guy outside of us talking on the early line.
Although I do love Big Miz, his off day last week went on a brewery tour around Milwaukee. How you ingratiate yourself to the Wisconsin fans. But I do agree with DRS. More on TEL next.
I say, you crank that Soldier Boy, right? You Darvish back on the mound. Haven't seen this guy in a minute right now. Yeah, man, crank it, man. Get it going up. Hit the high. Yeah, let's go. Crank that Soldier Boy up here. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. That was big back then. Where were you? Senior high school? Or maybe even in grade school?
Bar mitzvah slate. In the bar mitzvah slate each and every weekend. The young Benny Steve was out there hitting it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They practice in a public park. And Farrell and Lodge, he said, no, they have a little facility, but it's open to the public. No, it's a public park. Like, it basically, like, there's like kids playing basketball. Like,
yeah,
no, it's bad. I looked, I'm like, dear God. Like, I thought, I'm like, man, I bet a lot of money on these guys. I can't believe this is where they practice. Like,
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Scrounge out a couple of quarters from under the couch to go trade for somebody who would actually make some money. I don't think that he would actually do that. That's not in Hal's style the last couple of years, especially in season. I saw they signed that Heimer Candelario, who the Reds released. That's more their style, going the discount aisle as opposed to trading for someone who's actually having a huge year like Suarez.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, that's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. He's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Final weekend of Major League Baseball entering the All-Star break in Atlanta, and a championship weekend at the Championships Wimbledon, at the All-England Club, some lawn tennis on the grass. And DRS, what a rivalry we have in this sport that we are going to see for a very long time. The 23-year-old world number one, Jannik Sinner, against the 22-year-old and world number two, and the two-time reigning champion of the gentlemen's final at Wimbledon, that being Carlos Alcaraz. The final we were all hoping for in the fortnight in London that we got yesterday. After a 5-match thriller in one of the great finals we have ever seen in a Grand Slam just over a month ago in Paris, Jannik Sinner had multiple match points, serving for the championship at Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz beats them all, battles them off, and pulls off a 5-set stunner to win at Roland Garros. DRS, yesterday we were hoping for the same at Wimbledon. Not quite a 5-set thriller, but a really solid 4-match win. And the first Wimbledon title for Jannik Sinner. He flips the script. He exacts his revenge over Alcaraz and snaps his own 5-match losing skid against his rival in Alcaraz. 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Jannik Sinner becomes the first Italian man or woman to win a Wimbledon championship yesterday in London.
But how old are we between these two now? Like, what are the ages between these two?
23 for Jannik Sinner, 22 for Alcaraz.
So we'll probably be seeing them in multiple championships over the next decade.
Yeah.
Men's tennis, women's tennis, like sometimes you get these runs. It seems like in men's tennis, it's more like that top 5. There's teams that have a stranglehold. And maybe we do get a rivalry. And I guess it's good for, I'm not a tennis fan by any stretch, but I do like big events. But, you know, if you keep on playing each other, how big is the event going to be? Like, if these two meet up in the U.S. Open, is it great again? I was like, hey, man, let somebody else in and maybe let a crowd favorite in. And maybe they are the crowd favorites. I have no idea. I don't watch tennis. But the one thing I do know here is I just wish I was on the telecast. Like, you put me on that. It's like, you know, I don't have to be the guy in the booth, but put me on the sideline. Like, hey, what'd you feel about this? You know, like the final call comes down. Is it Chris Fowler? Like, who called the championship yesterday?
Yeah.
Who's the lead guy? So Chris Fowler calls it.
Chris Fowler did.
And did he say this? And for the first time since being popped for steroids, we have a champion in Jannik Sinner, to put it in proper perspective and proper frame. Because we always, the one thing I understand about like major sports, Ben, we always, like as humans, like we evolve. It's like, hey man, I messed up. I'm sorry about that. And we can live with it. But when the excuses pop up, and this is why you see me right away on Twitter, which I get so excited for, because isn't it like every time I talk, isn't it true? Like, doesn't it pay to cheat? I mean, and it's no longer being facetious. Like, the best CEOs, the best people in the world, the best athletes, it feels like half of them just cheated their way to the top. And if they got caught, it didn't have any impact on what they're doing now. Like, if you get like, is it tennis or it's not tennis? Swimming? Like, if you get popped by the World Doping Association, isn't like years you can't compete? Like, for years you can't come back. And it just feels like you get a couple months off and you're right back to it after you got popped for steroids. Like, why doesn't every tennis player just use steroids, get caught, sit out 3, and then come back and win championships or just elevate your game? That's what I would do.
To answer your question, yes, it was discussed yesterday after Sinner had his moment on center court winning at Wimbledon. Chris Fowler brought it up. He said that some people might discuss this championship with an asterisk, because not only the doping scandal, DRS, for Jannik Sinner, let's not forget he was trailing 2-0 in the round of 16 against Grigor Dimitrov before he retired with a torn pec in that third set. Sometimes you need some breaks. Now, for Sinner in the doping scandal, he was cleared of any wrongdoing, but the grand governing body in tennis appealed their own decision and basically were trying to force the suspension on Jannik Sinner, that he and his team then negotiated some sort of settlement that he served a 2-month suspension. To your point, DRS, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm not so sure Jannik Sinner was outright cheating, but he served his time. He came back, he responded, and he is a Wimbledon champion for the first time in his career. To your point, does this get a little bit tired in sports to see these same guys compete for Grand Slam after Grand Slam? I would argue no. It's an incredible rivalry, and I think it was important yesterday for Sinner to snap the 5-game losing skid against Alcaraz to legitimize this rivalry as well. These two guys have won the last 7 Grand Slam titles dating back to the Australian Open in 2024. How about Iga Swiatek Great headline.
Yeah.
Got to get it in. Women's final on Saturday. Iga's Bakery,
Bagels.
because she pulled off the double bagel. 6-0, 6-0, knocking off Amanda Anisimova, the American. 6-0, 6-0 in dominant fashion on Saturday.
Yeah, sometimes you get run over by the freight train. That's what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Either you have it or you don't in the biggest moment. She didn't have it. Swiatek used to being there. That's what happens.
Swiatek 6-0 in her 6th Grand Slam finals in her career. How to next.